March 18th, Crimean airspace. A Russian Su-34 fighter bomber drops from the sky at 11,000 meters, not from Ukrainian fire, but from a missile it was never supposed to fear. The radar signature was familiar. The launch trajectory was textbook Russian doctrine. The targeting system, absolutely flawless. Because it wasn't Ukrainian technology that killed that pilot. It was Moscow's own $800 million S-400 air defense system, now operated, reprogrammed, and turned against its creators. By dawn, Russia wasn't investigating a shoot-down. It was hunting for a weapon system it thought was still on its side. Like, subscribe, and stay with us for the full breakdown. February 24th, the Kherson region, 2:40 a.m. This is not just territory. This is a killing field where air dominance is decided before infantry ever moves. And at the center of that dominance stands one of the most feared weapon systems ever deployed, the S-400 Triumph. Not a single battery. An entire battalion-level complex valued at over $800 million. 4 5P-85 launchers, a 91N6E engagement radar capable of tracking 300 targets simultaneously at ranges exceeding 600 kilometers, a 92N6E fire control system that doesn't miss, and 64 missiles, each one a $4 million precision killer designed to erase anything from stealth fighters to ballistic warheads. For 2 years, this system has been untouchable. It doesn't just defend Russian positions, it erases Ukrainian air operations within a 400-kilometer radius. Until tonight. Russian doctrine is built on one assumption. The S-400 is too valuable, too complex, and too heavily defended to ever be taken intact. Crews are trained with one final protocol. If capture is imminent, destroy the system entirely. No exceptions. But what happens when the enemy doesn't attack the system? What happens when they attack the assumption? At 2:14 a.m., a Ukrainian SOF reconnaissance element confirms what satellite intelligence suspected for 11 days. Due to catastrophic supply failures and a collapsed logistics convoy, the S-400 battalion has been operating on rotating skeleton crews for nearly 2 weeks. Guard rotations have been cut from 12-hour to 18-hour shifts. Perimeter security has shrunk by 40%. And most critically, the self-destruct protocols require a 3-officer authorization code. Tonight, only 1 officer is on site. The raid begins at 2:41 a.m., not with explosions, with silence. Ukrainian operators move through a drainage corridor that Russian planners dismissed as impassable terrain. They don't breach the perimeter, they bypass it entirely, emerging less than 80 meters from the command vehicle. Suppressed weapons, thermal camouflage, 0 radio emissions. By 2:58 a.m., the engagement radar operator is unconscious. The fire control team is neutralized, the command vehicle is surrounded, and the single officer with destruct authority never reaches his panel. 17 minutes, 0 shots fired, 0 alarms triggered. At 3:04 a.m., Ukrainian electronic warfare specialists connect directly into the S-400's command interface. They're not disabling it, they're learning it. What happens next isn't sabotage, it's something far more dangerous. March 2nd, undisclosed location, deep inside Ukrainian-controlled territory. The S-400 doesn't just sit captured, it sits operational, fully powered, fully networked, and surrounded by engineers who have spent 12 days doing something Moscow never prepared for. They're not reverse engineering it, they're converting it. The challenge is brutal. Russian IFF, identification friend or foe, transponders are hard-coded. Engagement protocols are locked to Russian command frequencies. Fire control algorithms are encrypted with rotating military-grade keys that change every 72 hours. On paper, it's impossible to turn this system against its creators. But Ukrainian signals intelligence has spent 2 years intercepting every S-400 radar emission, every encrypted handshake, every data link burst across the entire front line. They don't need to crack the encryption. They already have the keys. By March 6th, the breakthrough comes. Ukrainian engineers successfully spoof Russian IFF codes, feeding the S-400 false friendly signatures that match NATO aircraft. The system now sees Ukrainian jets as authorized Russian assets. But the real weapon isn't deception, it's inversion. On March 9th, integration is complete. The S-400's engagement radar is now hardwired into Ukraine's own air defense network. Its fire control computer receives target data not from Moscow, but from Kiev. And its missile inventory, 48 40 N6 interceptors, each with a 400-kilometer range and a $6 million price tag, is now aimed at the very aircraft it was designed to protect. The cost calculation is staggering. Ukraine now controls $800 million in Russian hardware. But the operational value? Over $4.2 billion when you factor in missiles, radar coverage, and the sudden ability to dominate airspace Russia thought was secure. For the first time in this war, Ukraine doesn't just have parity in air defense. It has Russia's best system, and Moscow has no idea. March 18th, Crimean airspace, 11:23 a.m. A Russian Su-34 fighter bomber departs Belbek Air Base on a routine strike sortie. Payload, 4 Kh-29 guided munitions. The pilot has flown this route 19 times. The air defense umbrella is Russian. The corridor is safe. At 11:26 a.m., his radar warning receiver is silent. No lock tones, no threat alerts. The mission is green. He has no idea he's already been tracked for 4 minutes. 380 kilometers away, the captured S-400's 91 N6E engagement radar has been watching him since takeoff. The system classifies him perfectly. Aircraft type, speed, altitude, probable loadout. The targeting solution is flawless. At 11:28 a.m., Ukrainian operators authorize engagement. The fire controller command is transmitted. A single 40 N6 interceptor ignites and climbs hard, reaching Mach 6 within seconds. The missile's active radar seeker locks onto the Su-34 at 11,200 meters. The Russian pilot's warning system finally screams, but the threat signature makes no sense. It's a Russian missile, Russian radar profile, Russian telemetry. His electronic countermeasures don't activate. The protocol is simple. Don't jam your own missiles. At 11:29 a.m., the 40 N6 detonates 11 meters from the cockpit. Fragmentation rips through avionics, hydraulics, and fuel lines. The Su-34 breaks apart over the Black Sea. Total engagement time, 73 seconds. The pilot never understood what killed him. Russian command initially suspects mechanical failure, then friendly fire, then a catastrophic electronics malfunction. It takes 6 hours before they even consider the impossible. One of their own systems has turned. March 19th to April 4th. The consequences cascade. Within 18 hours, Russian Aerospace Command grounds all sorties within 400 kilometers of the suspected S-400 location. Over 230 planned strike missions are canceled. Air superiority protocols are rewritten overnight. But here's the deeper problem. Russia operates 56 S-400 battalions across the theater. And now, Moscow has no way to verify which ones are still under its control. Satellite imagery can't distinguish command authority. Electronic signatures are identical. Even encrypted authentication protocols are compromised because Ukraine now holds the keys. The result? Paralysis. Russian jets begin flying longer, fuel-intensive routes to avoid potential S-400 engagement zones. Sortie costs increase by 35%. Time on target drops sharply. Air defense coordination fractures as units refuse to share tracking data, fearing infiltration. By April 4th, Ukrainian intelligence confirms 5 additional Russian aircraft have aborted missions after receiving unexplained radar locks from systems that were supposed to be friendly. The S-400 hasn't just been captured, it's become a psychological weapon. Every radar ping, every lock tone, every fire control activation now carries doubt. Is it ours or is it theirs? This wasn't just a battlefield capture, it was a strategic inversion. $800 million in hardware, $4.2 billion in operational impact, and a weapons system that now forces Russia to fear its own air defenses. The math is brutal. Ukraine spent nothing. Russia lost everything. Distance didn't protect it. Technology didn't save it. And the assumption that elite systems can't be turned, that just became the most expensive lie of the war. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think this marks the beginning of captured systems being weaponized at scale, or is this a one-time intelligence miracle? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more breakdowns. Therefore, some details in the video are hypothetical. Our goal is to analyze military technology and warfare for educational and entertainment purposes. What you think about it, leave your comments below.